Well, not too bad. It took 10 parts, but we finally got our Dragon Knight fully, well, assembled. And now all that's left to do is to, well, just continue to grow and max out our character as necessary for this game, trust me. So, first thing we're going to do is finally do what we wanted to do with the Fire Demon Soul of the Soul of Flame Lurker. Is you go back over here and back onto this, well, it's technically also used as a shortcut, but you come down here to get access to the second and only other blacksmith in the game. Talk to him.
I haven't seen you around these parts. What does it matter? You need a blacksmith, show me some coin. If not, head straight for the door.
Yeah, neither of the two blacksmiths are one for manners, but anyway, their services are, well, they're well needed. That's fine enough. So let's go ahead and, since this is a new character, well, copy of the other file.
I'm not here to chit-chat. Forging a weapon strengthens it, alters its character. Bows are transmogrified sprites. Their presence blesses the weapon.
Indeed.
Demon soul? The demons are powerful spirits. Some can even bless weapons. But doing so requires a powerful flame. For the soul of a demon is an inferno of wrath.
Well,
Hold on.
you have to talk to him a couple of times. Don't ask me why. It's really
What
convoluted.
If it be a blacksmith, then show me some coin.
You have to keep talking to him enough to where he finally mentions the
Each ore has a grade. Mighty weapons
right now,
can only
like
be blessed by
demon
ores of high
soul
grade.
that he needs. It's
The
burning
highest
on
grade of
fire.
ore is a pure
Obviously
ore
includes
that shines in utter
you
brilliance.
should bring him the Flame Lurker
Steady
soul.
force.
Unfortunately, he won't
Lights the
recognize
eyes.
it until you talk to him after talking to him a couple of times about
The
it.
highest grade of ore is a pure ore that shines.
So when he starts to loop, you have to leave him. And then talk to him a third time after you've discussed the demon soul.
Yes, that's the one. A red, hot demon soul. Now you can bless your weapon with another demon soul.
And then you just give it to him.
Wise choice. You've done well to put your trust in the great blacksmith Ed. Bring me a demon soul, and I shall use it to bless your weapon.
Now here is what gives you access to make all the boss weapons that you would want in the game. In this case, we're going to improve a unique weapon with the colorless demon souls. Now, I know it's really hard to see, but we're actually improving the base damage of our Dragon Boat Smasher by 15 per. So right now it's at +2. There's going to be another instance where we can get another colorless demon soul with a more wide tendency world gameplay. Of course, if you were playing in a more Dark World tendency oriented play, there'd be many, many more opportunities. Very easy chance to get a +5 unique or boss weapon. But I digress. Now that we've gotten our weapon most powered up as much as we can, we're going to go ahead and fix things up a little bit and maximize the upgrade on our purple flame shield to +5, giving it a nice target stability of about, I'm going to say 85? That's probably wrong, but it's way up there. This is very good. Go ahead and store away the stuff that we have. Given with all of our heavy gear, this is not in any way, shape, or form a light character. Store away what we need to, or otherwise we can't even so much as pick up any new items along the way. Now, granted, the next place we're going to, World 3, is, well, there's going to be actually a couple of small items that we're going to need because Sparkly the Crow is going to want a couple of things that we're going to trade up for a lot of really cool items. So let's go ahead and do some final leveling up, just increase that endurance so we can carry more and of course have more endurance and a little bit of health. The strength of our weapon is already incredibly high. So as we go in here to the Tower of Latria, there really shouldn't be too much to worry about. You notice the patches isn't there, unfortunately, but don't worry, there'll be, again, unfortunately many times we'll be encountering that bugger. Okay, so coming in here on the Tower of Latria. Very happy place. It's a prison, a torture place. Anyway, it's a torture prison. We get a shard of mercury. That's one of the things that Sparkly's gonna want. This place, well, let me put it this way. It's a real good thing that I finally decided to speed up the basic level gameplay. Otherwise, we'd probably be here. Well, the whole recording session for this area for me was about an hour. So yeah. Okay, these enemies over here. Mind Flayers. Bane of most any Demon Souls player's existence. They're not just glass cannons, they're heavily annoying glass cannons. They have 3 spells that they use. A soul arrow from a distance, which you saw a couple of seconds ago. Him shooting it at me. They have a paralyzing sphere, which looks more static electrical. I'll show it to you again.
Help me.
And then they have a AoE blast, which is incredibly annoying. They typically follow up on the paralyzing sphere. They have a 4th move, which I'm going to show a little bit later. But again, I digress. Going into the many cells of the Tower of Latria, this place is it's kind of like a puzzle, I guess. All these cells are each floor has a specific set of keys that you need to get in order, typically. And then you can go through them. Some of them have nothing in them. Some of them have small items, and others have, well, more important items than others. Some of them have these prisoners, and not all of them are docile and just wandering aimlessly. You see back there was a couple of guys who have just basic daggers. Now, unfortunately, because Demon Souls, you have no poise, it'll stagger you every single time, but those daggers also deal poison. Now, I'm over here trying to show off what the players do for the sake of, well, showing it off, but, of course, it totally misses. Go figure. So we're going to try one more time. I actually have 1 or 2, I should say, entertaining encounters with them. But yeah, they're incredibly annoying. But once you've gotten through the headache of dealing with them once, you generally know how to deal with them later. This paralyzing spell is incredibly annoying. They come to you and do a massive close combat attack. I almost got caught there with a follow-up. So what they usually like to do is just trap you in a combo by paralyzing you, doing a melee attack on you, and because it takes so infuriatingly long for your character to recover, they just follow up again. Typically either that or they'll almost always follow with an AoE. It's one of those two. They'll never use the soul arrow specifically for trying to hit you at a distance like along these corridors, which is just perfect for them. So typically what you'll want to do is hide along the side of the corner there where they come by as close as they come and just smack them one. Of course, because they're the Dragon Boat Smasher, we more than easily overkill them, which is just fine with me. But after coming through this annoying maze of finding the next floor keys, actually start on the 3rd floor, I believe. We have to go up to the 4th, and then go down to the 2nd. So yay. Like this. Let's see, Tower of Latria. Well, yeah, it's a dismal place, but what's more atmospherically eerie about it is a lot of the NPCs that you can actually encounter here. None of them are horrific in any way, but they're definitely not helping add to the atmosphere. Some more annoying than others, let's put it that way. Not so much scary. But anyway, coming up here, we have these Iron Maidens. These, well, yeah, they don't add to the atmosphere either, but not all of them are going to have just corpses in them. Some of them are, don't ask me how, are going to have prisoners that, well, it's actually those poison dagger prisoners, so they're just going to pop out. And don't ask me why. It's probably because I'm recording. But I swear, I promise, every single time I would play casually, the guys with the daggers that were like free-flowing out here in the open, like these guys here, they would always hit me and almost always poison me. Whereas the guys who were hunting in the Iron Maidens would like clip over me and always miss. Now the opposite completely happens here, and so go figure, LP logic, I guess as you could call it. So as wonderful as the maze is, there's only 1 or 2 Iron Maidens that have problems, and either that, you always want to open them anyway because they drop very useful items. Like some of the items I said that we're going to need for Sparkly include at least 1 shard of Mercury Stone. I do believe he gives increased, or she, or whatever, gives increased rewards for the, see there's one of those guys, higher amounts like a chunk of Mercury Stone and pure Mercury Stone. I'm pretty sure that Sparkly trades different grades of grass, healing grass for you. So that's really useful there. Another one includes silver bracers that we're going to get as an armor set. There's actually quite a few armor sets. There's the Assassin's armor set and the Royals armor set just laying around this place. And the Knight's armor set. 3 armor sets. Pretty crazy. But one of those, or actually 2 of those items, are going to be particularly useful to us in trading for Sparkly. The silver bracelets I already mentioned, but the, I forget what it's called. It comes with the Royal. It's the silver band that you wear above your head.
You're an ordinary human, aren't you? Where do you call home?
Oh,
dear
shoot.
me, I shouldn't pry. Oh, perhaps you'd like something from my
I
collection.
totally forgot
Back
about
in the day,
this
I was
one.
once the wife of royalty.
Okay, this is
There
an
are some
undead
things to
merchant, the former royal's wife. I don't think she's undead, she's just incredibly old. Either way, she has a couple of nice things that you can get if you really need to on your first time here. Here's the Ring of Avarice. So look at that price tag. It's ridiculous, but I know a much easier, much more efficient way to get it. Ring of Avarice gives you a 20 to 30% increase in soul intake, which is very nice. Definitely useful in some particular areas. Unfortunately, the Royal's wife, as you've heard by now, is the one giving off that rather annoying opera-like sing tone in here. But here's one of the Mind Flayers just using the stupid soul arrow to snipe us from a distance. So yeah, you definitely don't want to go against those guys in the middle of these pathways. You definitely want to wait till they either come to you or, well yeah, you just want them to come to you. Otherwise, unless you're very brave, you can totally roll through the paralyzing sphere, although I'm not one for that because this game could get pretty finicky also with the hitboxes as you've seen before. And it might just grab you, and then you have to worry about getting comboed. But going in through here, we're on level 4. There's, yeah, the one standing out is of course going to be the trap. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any Royal Lotus to get rid of the poison, but I'm really not all that concerned about it. Now, the poison effect is really annoying in that it halves your recovery rate for even spells. So you'll see me use the healing miracle here as well as some healing grass, and it's about half as much as it would recover. So that could be very aggravating. As we come over here, we actually see, not in this cell, but the next one, another friendly NPC that we can get to the Nexus. Okay, I'm sorry, it's the next two over. I believe it's, here using the healing miracle. It doesn't nearly do as much as it should, so I had to be using it twice. There we go. This is Sage Freak's body. Sage Freak, if you recall, is the mage that, or the powerful mage, archmage if you will, that the guy, the only magic dude left at the Nexus could teach us magic, wanted us to bind. It's the only reason he had actually agreed to giving us, or selling us magic. He's up for a total other quest that requires, well, it requires a couple of things to be done, but one I don't bother with this playthrough, and let me bring that up. The reason I say this playthrough is, a lot of what I've been doing here, on my channel, it's quite alright, in my opinion, and I'm not just saying that, to be completely honest. I wouldn't release videos if I didn't think they were at least passable, or half decent, you know? However, in time, I'm very certain that with more experience... Oh, 1 second, let's talk to this guy.
Well, you are a sane one, aren't you? My name is Ridiel. Please, liberate me from this cell. I have precious little time. I must retrieve an article from my corpse.
Yeah, Ridiel over here, you can see he's a blue phantom, kind of like the Crestfallen Soldier was in the Nexus. And his storyline, he's also the one making that really annoying run. His storyline revolves around a more, well, alternative world tendency plan, so unfortunately we're not going to be able to do that. So what I'm saying, tying all this in, is that along with Paper Mario and perhaps even Demon Souls right here, I'm actually going to revisit, and that's perfectly fine, honestly, because there is a lot of really good replay potential. And let's just call this a, let's see here, first draft into it. These is an undead horde. They're not all that dangerous, so long as you know how to deal with them, of course. They're ridiculous close combat. What you want to do is wait for them to hit that soul arrow. And look at how much damage we do with our Dragon Boat Smashers. It's so awesome. There's only 2 of them that I can recall in the Tower of Latria, or at least World 3. So yeah, going back to what I was saying, I'm going to revisit this stuff with better equipment, better experience, so better me, and better editing. So a lot of this is just more of an entertaining watch. More improved, definitely. Now, be careful coming along here, because as you've noticed, there's a lot of pitfalls and dead ends along the Tower of Latria's corridors. Very unnice. Very not nice. But anyway, we're actually getting close to the boss's area, but that doesn't mean we can access it yet. And as soon as we pick up a couple more of these items, you'll see why, accompanied by this cutscene. If you come over here, this is actually where you can. This is actually where Frakes corpse is located. However, you need the key for it. In order to get the key for it, you need to satisfy another world tendencies, or actually another mission and the world tendencies conditions. So, of course, we're not going to be able to do that this time, just so we get there it is. And we get this nice little cutscene, where along this main corridor leading to the boss, yeah, it doesn't really show too much, but all those, I used to call them ballistas. All those crossbows are going to be sending arcs and waves of arrows. Now, fun fact, in a speedrun, you actually go through this while they're firing. You can quick roll through all of those, but I'm not nearly experienced enough to try and do that, nor have I practiced in it. So yeah, we're just going to go ahead and grab the Warden's keys, which you need to unlock the final stretch of locked gates that'll allow us to head toward the boss. And on the way back, this is when I finally decide to double back and just pick up the items from this final corridor on floor 1. Now over here, we're actually going to get the Knight's set of armor, but we're also going to get the silver bracelets. Now, the silver bracelets are only equipable to female characters. Demon Souls is also the only Souls game so far that, yeah, look at me, I'm already talking about Dark Souls 3. That's the Knight's armor, the silver bracelets. Only equipable by female characters. They pretty much have the same or similar effect to the Ring of Avarice, which is increased soul intake. I believe theirs is going to be about 20%. Either way, all of it really helps. If you put all those together onto another really great farming area, which we'll actually get to in the next world, you can just pile on the souls, and souls really are not a problem in the slightest in this game. At least they become so, more so, when you get to that point. So let's go ahead and move along over here. Now, at this point, I have not located the, I'll call it the silver crown. This is typically what it is. The silver band that goes around the head of the royal. Definitely something Sparkle is going to want, because as it would suggest, being silver, it sparkles, I guess. And it's going to give us a much needed item. They come down this corridor, it's very unfriendly about them, so you're going to want to charge over here because there's 2 mind flayers over here. There's one on each side. And what's good about the rather flaky AI for the mind flayers is that as soon as they fire their paralyzing sphere, I guess they're blind or something? I'm not sure. I'll get more data on it in the next playthrough. That as soon as they fire the paralysis sphere, they immediately charge forward and wait a few minutes, and that's definitely a perfect time you want to strike. So if you go ahead and coax them into firing it, and then just follow up with a couple attacks, or one attack depending how strong your weapon is, or your magic, of course, you just knock them out. And if you come along around here, is enough to stop this booby trap. Fun fact, I believe invaders can turn this off, but the mechanism cannot be turned on. Now, granted, this was Dark Souls. I full-heartedly believe that turning it on would definitely be an option for just messing around in invading other people's worlds. But we come down here, there's a couple of ledges, and this is a real finicky mechanism for Demon Souls as well, is the ledges. Really glad they took this out in Dark Souls, and of course, I'm not sure about Dark Souls 2, but I'm gonna say they didn't include the ledge climbing there either. They just keep it to ladders and steps, and just let that be that. A couple of nice items you can get along there, but this is generally the roadway up to the main cathedral in the prison, where the boss is. Now, there's actually a bit of a surprise waiting for us along the way there. There's a black phantom character over there with the Thieves' Ring, and the Thieves' Ring is particularly nasty in Demon Souls, is where you can't even see them until they're until you're in targeting range of them. So they could totally walk around, the invaded world. Picture an invader having access to this. Totally walk around your world and not be able to see them at all. I suppose you could hear them, I'm not entirely sure. My PvP experience has been exclusively with Dark Souls. I'm going to keep it that way. Actually, oh, never mind. Sorry, I was thinking about something else that we could do later in this world. If you know I'm talking about PvP, then you know what I mean about the old monk. So, it's not particularly dangerous, but it is a very unfortunate surprise coming along your first playthrough here. As we work our way back, we get the silver catalyst. It's also another royal starting equipment. The royal gets so much good stuff starting on it. It's, of course, why so many people suggest it. I was really surprised, and not too many people suggest the Temple Knight. Although when we started with the Temple Knight, I actually found it perfect for the liking of the playthrough that I was going to do, or that we're doing right now, in fact. But the Black Phantom is actually going to be useful to us. We're going to make it work for us. I know I sped really through it, but I'm going to make more of an emphasis later in the video anyway. We got the Clever Cat's Ring. This is comparable to the Red Tearstone Ring in Dark Souls. Pretty much when we have 30% or lower health, yeah.
You have died.
That's a very unfortunate turnout for me. Along the way, looking for that silver...
You have regained your body. Bring more souls, Slayer of Demons.
This is just a couple of montage, if you will, of me trying to look for the silver headband while fighting off. Yay, because I died, of course, everybody revives. You know, prisoners, mind flayers, yay. Now I found a couple of them. It's in this cell over here, so yay.
You have regained your
Silver
lost
corpse.
soul.
And of course, we gotta get our souls. Then we can finally make our way to the boss. There's really only one more thing that we actually need to do in order to... Okay, I use the word need sparingly, only because of what the developers intended the first time around. Not too heavy spoilers, this is an old game, but... The boss of the first area tower of Latria technically cannot die. You cannot beat it unless you do this. What we're going to be doing over here. There's something that keeps resurrecting it even if you defeat it. And so what you're going to have to do is come up on the other side of the cathedral. Not straight through, but of course not to the left that we took last time, but up to the right. And there's an undead over here that's going to actually be casting a spell that sort of acts as a resurrection shield, a safeguard for the boss of this area. There's that opening back there we're going to use, actually right here. We're going to use that for coming in on our Black Phantom friend. But let's go ahead and talk more about what we're going to do with the Black Phantom as we move along. One second. Oh, dropping frames.
What do you want? I am a humble servant. I do not wish to interfere. I won't cause you trouble. I won't.
Yeah, that's a total lie.
What?
Go ahead and
What
get a
do
key
you want?
over here.
I
That's
won't-
what she used against H-Freak's body. And if you can see right down there, yeah. The spell is casting in front of him. He's not there to... Well, he's the one who was actually causing the boss to go ahead and revive itself constantly, so we're just going to go ahead and finish him off. Very infuriating your first time around. You can actually hear the bolt strikes from the Black Phantom down there. Yeah, this Phantom actually uses the very useless crossbow. Not useful at all in Demon Souls. I haven't seen anybody even on PvP in videos or live streams, which are still going on, by the way, which is pretty nice, using the crossbow in any way, shape, or form. Of course, the crossbows are more useful in Dark Souls, which I think is rather nice. It's a good improvement. So what we're going to do is we fight it. We're going to go ahead and come down here. We're not worried about any health damage we take, because we're going to want to activate the Clever Cat's Ring on purpose for the boss. Now, you do have to be careful, because right there, this Black Phantom has the Baby's Nail, a weapon we can actually acquire after we beat the boss. It causes plague, which is pretty much the effect of toxin, or have you. It's a hyperactive effect of poison. We're actually going to be, you at least notice this right now, if you look at our health, even while sped up, we're actually waiting on purpose for it to drop down below about 30%. Now, as I'm eyeing this, I'm not entirely certain when that is, so unfortunately I caught it right before it would have activated. So it's not too much of a trouble, just more time consuming. There is a way to sort of set yourself up for taking the necessary amount of damage in order to activate the Clever Cat's Ring. Because as soon as we enter the boss fight, the boss isn't actually going to be aggressive immediately. And of course, we're going to take full advantage of this as we prepare our main attack. Or rather, our preemptive strike, I should say, coming into the boss fight. Of course, the boss is on the other end of the room, so we have to book it pretty fast. Now, I'm not entirely certain, haven't particularly timed it, but I'm fairly certain if you take your time too much, the boss will start to aggro and will start going into its cycle. Cycling around to its attack phase. So yeah, we're going to use the full damage intentionally to trigger the Clever Cat's Ring. I get it right there on the first shot, but I have to go down a little bit further. Now, because I don't want to, for whatever reason, get one shot, I do take a Crescent Moongrass. Unfortunately, that heals me just about too much to where we were before, so I'm going to have to go ahead and augment this once more. So let's go ahead and do that right now. And just drop down. Okay, now that we are better adjusted for the Clever Cat's Ring, we're going to go ahead and finally take on the boss. Ooh, ominous. Anyway. Okay, just to be sure here, we're not going to worry about getting poisoned. But we do want to get as much damage as we can, so we're going to go put on the Turpentine. Crescent Moongrass has gotten so low on the recovery scale that we're really not going to need. I'm actually going to go ahead to Full Moongrass, just because of what we're going to do here to get as much damage. I've actually come really close to one-shotting the boss, or not one-shotting per se, but one-cycling, but just beating up on it. But you'll see what I mean when we approach right now. Let's see here. This boss is magic-based. Need to be very quick on our feet, especially. So she won't attack the very first instance that we're charging at her, which is why we're using this strategy. But as we enter here, let's go ahead and take on the boss of the first area, Tower of Latria. Alright, Fool's Idol. Based on the... Oh no, don't get caught on the chair. Alright, come on the side, because there's a ton of minions and chairs in the middle of the way. Just beat down on her immediately. Can I get this in one shot? No! Missed it. Oh well. Shoot. Okay, now as soon as she breaks away from your first attack, she's going to have multiple copies on the field. Now, the best way to tell which one is which stupid paralyzing spell that the other minions are casting along the road here. The best way to tell which is the real Fool's Idol is the one that's using... The other ones, the fakes, are using Soul Arrow. The real one is using Greater Soul Arrow, like that one right there. So the one in the center on here is the real Fool's Idol. Just a bunch of the stupid... fakes. Keep trying to pin us.
You have obtained the Demon's Soul, a power that is beyond human imagination.
So yes, very intense, very quick battle. It can be really problematic on your first time around. I did die my first go around, only because of how aggravating these paralysis spells are, but the best thing to do is not to panic. As with always, any time of live commentary over these fights, it's just really difficult to stay focused and speak some comparable stuff. I was talking really fast there. I do apologize if some people couldn't understand or keep up with what I was saying. Hell, I'm still doing it a little bit. Another strategy to go around doing this is, as you work your way up to her, since she won't attack you until you like start attacking her, or just take a really long time to get up there, which shouldn't be much of a problem, is go ahead and get rid of these guys. They don't have a ton of health. They are incredibly annoying. They help to cast those paralysis circles. I'm not entirely certain if the Fool's Idol's copies are the ones that are doing that either. I never actually cleared out all of the undead over here. The undead hollows. Now, as soon as you approach the this altar over here, you're going to be taken up to Area 2 of the Tower of Latria. But there's an item over here that you probably... It said you need to get it before you take on Fool's Idol. But if you just hug the wall completely, you will skip the trigger, and you will get the Baby's Nail. Baby's Nail is what the other Phantom, the Black Phantom over there was using It gives you the Plague ability. You can use it on some bosses. I typically don't. There's another guy you could use it on. We're going to use it on a little bit later if we have to. But right now, let's go ahead and after we defeat the boss, go on to the next area by approaching the altar. I love the way our sword and shield are sheathed on our back there. Too bad it doesn't fly that way in-game. There's actually a nod to, if not the exact same scene, just like this at a point in Dark Souls, the sequel to this game, where something like, it's almost exactly like this, or pretty much exactly like this, happens. In case anyone was curious to know, the reason why Dark Souls is called what it is isn't so much because they wanted to call it something else, it's because of licensing issues. Otherwise, Dark Souls as we know it would have simply been Demon Souls 2 and so on. Which also means that we technically would have Demon Souls 3 out right now instead of Dark Souls 2. But yes, for whatever reason they choose not to attack us at the moment, but those are good, those lesser gargoyles are going to be enemies for the next area, which we'll be covering next time. So thank you very much for joining me in another episode in the Demon Souls playthrough. And we will take on Area 3-2, Tower of Latria. Oh, fun. Of course, after we get our boss soul.